a year in advance or 2 years in advance.
I think you're right, but I think Corbyn is very strong on the NHS and gets a lot of support on the NHS. It's probably in the last 6 months, particularly over the winter period, the Tories' weak spot, and there's a lot of noise about patients waiting in A&E, patients waiting in corridors on trolleys, and so on and so forth. The doctors are a very vociferous body, and they talk of too few doctors, too few nurses, patients waiting, horror stories of patients effectively dying in A&E on a trolley, and so on and so forth. All that noise, which actually is correct, it does happen, has sort of helped the Labour Party significantly, and I think that's the media storm that I think the Conservatives need to remove as they approach the next election.
Yeah,
pumping 20 million into the NHS is perceived positively by the vast majority of the country, I would suggest.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. In terms of, let me just check. In terms of the operators, just to move into talking about the private operators, how would you say? How would the main? I mean, I'm assuming the main ones are what? BMI, Spire, HCA, Nuffield, right? Probably.
You're absolutely right, and then Ramsay after that.
Ramsay, yeah, correct.
They're the top five. They're about 68% of the total market, I think.
Yeah, that's what I have I think seen the data somewhere. And how are they sensibly the same from a sort of regional coverage or payer mix? Do they take the same portion of business from the NHS, for instance, or PMIs, and also in terms of sort of word of mouth and quality, is there an obvious sort of champion, or are they all sort of more or less the same? Or it varies, just varies by hospital, and you can't really sort of have a trend across the network? I mean, we know, for instance, we know obviously BMI has been underinvested, and is it just BMI only, or is it just really all the operators that have sort of been underinvested?
Okay, so my view is...
We can go ahead and get into that, yeah.
Yeah, so my view is I think Spire is a pretty well-run company. I think they've had good management. They've had great investment over the last few years. I mean, they had 190 million invested, I think it was last year. 150 million invested. This is capital I'm talking about. The previous year, they've built new hospitals in Manchester, a new hospital in Nottingham. They spent 28 million pounds on St Anthony's in South London. So I think they've invested significant sums in the business, and new hospitals aside, you absolutely see that when you look at the Spire hospitals. They've got pretty good quality indicators. Quality is, they did a market presentation recently and they talked about 100% quality ratings from CQC. So CQC are very, very important in the marketplace at the moment in terms of the rating that you get from Care Quality Commission. And Spire ratings in the last 2 years, I think all their hospitals have been good or outstanding. And their aim is to have all of them moving forward in the good and outstanding category. So I think they're a pretty well-run new chief exec with particular ways. He is interesting looking for. So his NHS business is about 31% of the total at the moment. I think his target is to reduce that, interestingly, to 20% and have 80% private. So they've got a big focus on self-pay and a big focus on insured. They're trying to get to 200 million EBITDA by 2022, I think they say, 1.2 billion in revenues. They're currently on 150 million, so they've definitely got a path to increase the business, and they seem to have a well thought out strategy that hinges on quality. Pretty well run outfit.
So that's a champion. So they're saying they're targeting 80% of their business to be private, basically. That's that. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. And
their NHS at the moment, I think their NHS at the moment is 31%. So the plan is to grow the business and actually grow insured and self-pay faster than NHS.
NHS. Okay, that is fair enough. In terms of geographic spread, are they all over the country or predominantly in the south?